asking, do you ever feel the same? Well, maybe we could change, turn the ship another way.
Hello and welcome to the Lis Experiment. I'm Liz, the Liz in the Lis Experiment, and this is the YouTube channel where I record field notes from my journey towards architecting my best life. And I am recording a special episode today, bird sounds and all, nature sounds, if you can hear them, because this is the location, well, I should say, I'm recording this episode from a special location today because this is the location where I filmed the very first video for the Lis Experiment. I am back in Oakland, California. To be more exact, I'm in Montclair, which is a neighborhood up in the hills of Oakland. So I get my background maybe isn't necessarily what you think of when you think of Oakland, but trust me, I am here. And I am here pet sitting my dear friend now, Faye, who is a very sweet Formosa mountain dog. And I'm back here also visiting, well, before her friends her humans went on vacation, I was visiting with them, and I'm just, I'm enjoying being back in Oakland. So let's get into what did I learn this week and what did I work on this week. This is what I talk about every week. In an attempt to try to architect my best life, I try to focus on what are the things that are happening as I continue on this journey of location independence, meaning I don't have a house or a permanent address. I travel from place to place, and I house sit and I work on the web along the way, and I figure out life. So this week, what did I learn? The first thing I learned this week was, I guess the biggest thing I learned this week was how much I identify with being an American, or how much I identify as being an American. The last 2 months of episodes have been either in England or Budapest, I think, or Poland. So England, Hungary, or Poland. And I'm back in America, in the United States of America, and I have been reflecting on my experiences abroad and coming back, and I'll talk more about that in the what I worked on section of the video. The second thing, and this is kind of like a fun thing, well, it wasn't that fun, but excuse me, what I worked on / remembered is how much I hate movies that are made from TV shows, aka I saw the Downton Abbey movie. Wish I hadn't, but I'm glad I went to the movies, and I'll talk about that in the what I worked on section as well. The third thing I learned this week was that traveling from Europe to the West Coast of the United States of America is pretty freaking hard on my body, but I can do it, and I can do it and still get work done, so that's good to know. It's good to know my limits. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, one of the things that I worked on was just remembering, I guess, instead of, one of the things I learned. Do you see what jet lag does to you? One of the things I learned was how much I love being here at this cottage, but also just in this part of the country. I just really enjoy it. And I guess I should mention that the last thing I learned this week was more Spanish, because I started taking Spanish classes in anticipation of my month in Mexico. God damn it, next month. Let's just be real. Liz, you don't have much time to learn their language. So, all that said, what did I work on along this crazy journey? So, the first thing I talked about learning was identifying with being an American. And so, many of you who maybe have traveled or just thought about this in general, I've always been an American, obviously. I've always known that. But as I traveled throughout the world and I saw, or even just met people outside of my hometown, and I saw people's perspectives and the way that some people who are from the United States of America act, or, just some of the more distasteful stereotypes that are placed upon Americans, I started to withdraw from using that, or I should say as from owning it as my identity. But as I think get older and travel more, I now see there's so much beauty in it as well. But that's not the reason I identify with it. That's just who I am. I grew up here, I live here, I love it here. I'm so lucky to have an American passport, a United States of America passport. Like, I'm so lucky to have one of those, to be able to travel most places in the world without restrictions, to be able to come home back to the States as I did on Monday, a few days ago, and just be allotted all of the rights and privileges that I have here. It's a really big blessing. And I just love it. I love my country. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop traveling. It doesn't mean I don't like and love other people in other countries, from other countries and their countries. But it just, it reaffirmed that I am an American, and that's part of my identity. And as I reaffirm these pieces of my identity, that's part of the scaffolding that holds up the rest of the structure called my life, you know? And so I think that's why it's important and why that stands out. And so what I worked on is just owning that, as I said. The second thing that I worked on along the lines of the not liking the movie, okay, I didn't like the movie, but I went to the movies in Warsaw, Poland by myself. What's amazing about watching in a British-based movie in Poland is that the movie itself is in English and the subtitles are in Polish. So I actually understood what was going on. And it was just cool to go to the movies too, and just to, you know, go downtown and hang out and spend some human time away from pets and away from the neighborhood. So I just worked on having fun and following what I wanted to do, even if I was dissatisfied with the content of the film. The third thing I worked on was in regards to traveling from Poland to Oakland. I worked on being kind to myself. So this is in regards to even like I do yoga or cardio work every day, one of the other, not both. And I just like, if I needed to do that extra child's pose, I did the extra damn child's pose. Or if I needed to sit out a high intensity interval training interval, I sat it out. And I just was kind to my body and my mind and my spirit. And I let myself just get and I'm not there yet, obviously, but I let myself just get accustomed to being back on the West Coast. Also, fun fact, I flew TAP Air Portugal. Would highly recommend it. And if you're ever taking a trip from Europe to either the East or West Coast, and it happens to go through Lisbon, Portugal, on an overnight layover, and it's cheap enough, or if that's your requirement, I would highly recommend doing it. Because I did that. I flew from Warsaw to Lisbon, and then checked my bag overnight, so I didn't have to worry about that. I had my carry-on bag. There's a hotel right there. Went the next morning and took a direct flight from Lisbon to San Francisco, which is a 12-hour flight, so it's pretty hard. But anyway, point being, if you're a traveler and that comes across your radar, go for it. So I was kind to myself, and the last thing I worked on was really just soaking up the good vibes here in Oakland. As I said, I love being back. I've made friends here, and I love being around them, and so I just try to enjoy my time with them as much as I can. I try to enjoy the nature, the people, the energy, my quirky, jet-lagged self. And I'm going to try to keep working on that one because I think it's pretty important. So I am going to go slug the rest of this coffee and try to make it through till like 10 o'clock tonight. Next week, I will be back here in Oakland. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments on anything that I'm doing with my journey, any questions, any thoughts, please share them in the comments area below. If you want to get these videos every week, don't forget to subscribe. And finally, thanks so much for watching.
One more time.